is you have to implement some quality control, because at some point, without quality control, that empowerment, which is great, can become let's get it done, let's get it done, let's get it done at any cost. And sometimes that means cutting corners, and that's not what you want either. You want good empowerment with people being held accountable and communicated to, but they're doing a good quality job in an efficient time. What if I told you you can increase your productivity by, I would say at least 10%, if not more, just small little shifts, you know? But welcome. It's Chris G here, back with the Hard Hat CEO. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the 5 ways to improve productivity on your job site. I was long time ago, I had an opportunity to go to a different competitors' place. When you have vendors, and I recommend this highly, get vendors to take you other places so you can see what those other guys are doing. And there was a particular, we called it Make Ready, and these guys, we took us 30 minutes, and the guys that were doing it, and I averaged it because I was timing them, but it did anywhere from 15, 20 minutes. So let's just say 17 was the average. So what we were doing in 30 minutes, those guys were doing in 15. And it wasn't like I sat there all day really, because this vendor wanted us to buy this piece of equipment. And I had the opportunity to watch, and I was just amazed and watched, and each person knew what he was doing. And there was another position on this crew, and they were taking care of 4 machines. And we had this guy back here in Missouri, and our guy was taking care of 2. So when I got back, I we ended up buying the machine for one thing, but that helped. And it wasn't the machine by itself, because we had 2 older machines there. And I said, "Here's what they were doing," and I've given them ideas. I said, and they said, "No, it wasn't." I said, "I got proof. I watched them." And matter of fact, I ended up taking some crews to other places. Sometimes it helped showing them, if you can take somebody with you, especially somebody that's working with you, and they can see it too. They're your grapevine when you get back and tell everybody what they were exposed to. So after many explanations, communications, planning, we actually got that one person to handle 4 machines, and we monitor it. Our make readies were gradually getting faster. And when I left, that one person was handling 6 machines instead of 4, and we were down to 10 minutes. 10 minutes to make ready, and we actually made it into a industry journal about how fast we were, to the extent that when a company come to look at that machine that we had bought, and we were giving the same opportunity for our customer or our competitors come look see what we did, instead of buying the machine, they ended up buying our company, because they realized they couldn't, in their own company, create the culture or create the more efficiencies that we have at our place. So, what are some ways to improve your efficiencies? I would say little huddles, getting together, giving them expectations of where they should be, what it should take. And what we did was, even if you have a job, let's say pouring concrete, and you have X amount of yards, and X amount of yards should be poured in so many hours. If it takes longer than that many hours, have your working foreman explain why it didn't happen. Or we used to give those smiley faces, and it's a it was a point system, but basically you got a smiley face because you poured that many yards at the same amount of hours you're expected to, or even faster. And it actually became more of a competition. You know, good competition is good. I don't um, Competition can be overwhelming too, and I don't mean to get in. That's a whole nother subject, but you know, the guys are working towards a goal. They have a common enemy, that time clock. Get it done in this amount of time. And if we all win, we all win. And if we all lose, we lose together and find out why and fix it for next time. You know, I beat this to a drum sometimes in our episodes, and I hope you actually see the point. You got to delegate. I said it before, I'll say it again, but yeah, delegate. But delegation just in itself is not effective without empowerment. You have to allow your people to make decisions once you delegate it to them. They have to know what your limitations are, what your expectations are. But at the end of the day, they should not be worried about what you're going to think, other than the fact that they made a decision without you being there. Empowerment's important, but there's one more step past that. And that's our next lesson. Is you have to implement some quality control, because at some point, without quality control, that empowerment, which is great, can become let's get it done, let's get it done, let's get it done at any cost. And sometimes that means cutting corners, and that's not what you want either. You want good empowerment with people being held accountable and communicated to, but they're doing a good quality job in an efficient time. All those together are going to save you lots of money at the long run. It might not happen tomorrow, but over time and constant regulations looking at it, be through make it simple for your working foreman to look at it and get that smiley face or frowny face. Did they do a good job or not? That's what it came down to, and that's how we implemented it. Is it a smiley face? Yes, then go on. If it's a frowny face, I want to know why. One of the things that really, really, really has helped us a lot, I believe, and it's almost the hardest one of them all, is to minimize distractions. And the old cell phone, one of the things that's damned if you do and damned if you don't. You got to have it, a necessary evil, all that good stuff. I went to friends, other businesses, contractors, other businesses, and I've seen people sitting on a damn bucket looking at social media while their friends are all working. Now, A, that's a bad employee. B, your working foreman should be taking care of that. Um, and the morale of the other guys. I have talked to the morale of the other guys, and I say, well, so and so, but they're not going to do anything, and that's not good. That just means your good guys are doing worse. You have to hold responsibility or hold them accountable. Do whatever. Talk to that person, and by golly, if they're not doing it, get rid of them. But those type of things. Now, distractions I talk about could be also not only on the phones, and you can implement something where they only get them a certain time. I think that's irresponsible too, because if you got good employees, they know what they're supposed to do. You shouldn't have to babysit them, take their phones and put them in a box while you're doing work. That's just being said. But you all do what you need to do, but you need to cut down on those distractions. Vendors. Vendors are sales guys, and sales guys love to talk. Well, they're great, and there's a lot of benefit to them, but you got to control the access to you have them to your people. Either let them talk just to your working foreman, let them talk just to your managers, or even yourself. They don't need to be out there distracting your guys while they're doing their work. And this is the hardest one of them all, clients. We do a lot of residential stuff, and people want to come see how their house is coming along, and that's really tough. So you got to have somebody to run interference, whether it be you, whether it be if you have a salesman, make sure that salesman's out there running interference. Um, and I'm not talking about being mean to your client because or ignore them, and it's hard not to. But you got to somebody has to run interference, let those guys do their job, and you answer the questions for your people, or even talk to them and say, hey, we did this job at a very efficient level, and anyway, here's my person in charge. But you explain to them that's why you do such a good job, and that's why your price is so fair and you're so efficient because we get our jobs done, and we can't get it done. We'd be happy to talk to you after hours, or I'll talk to you, whatever it is. Call me anytime, whatever. Set up an appointment, but somebody's going to have to run interference on those clients. So I want you to imagine that when you have a job someday and you've got it estimated and you give it to your people, and they're actually beating the times that you told them it needs to be done in. At the end of the day, they're further along than you expected, and they're all giving themselves highs fives and all this good stuff about where they've been, because that can happen. and you can beat things instead of 30 minutes doing it in 10. With all that being said, if you guys feel like you need help in your efficiencies and proficiencies, your products and so forth, reach down below, right there in the show notes. Sign up with me. We'll talk about ways to make that happen. This is Chris G with the Hard Hat CEO signing off, and we see you again next week. Bye bye.